Uh, so as we start, I'm actually going to hand it to Tere to give a little word of welcome, and then I'll do the same.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tere Furado. And if nobody needs my services as an interpreter, I may have to leave because I have a board meeting in our beautiful, gorgeous Adelante School. I'm part of the board of directors of Adelante Charter School, so I have to attend to that meeting too. So, si nadie necesita mis servicios para traducción, para interpretación, voy a tener que irme porque soy parte de la mesa directiva de la escuela Adelante Charter School. So, but thank God, London is recording everything so I can be part of it. Thank you.
So if we do have someone, anyone who would like interpretation, please do let us know. You can also put it in the chat window. But otherwise, we'll go ahead.
¿Let it or no?
I will mention too, since we're doing this as a hybrid meeting, we would love your patience with us for any tech issues that might arise. We've only done this once now in this format. And so, obviously it's pretty makeshift if you can see the setup we have here. So just if you can have patience with us in that process, we would appreciate it. But we're very glad you're here. So we are here this evening to discuss issues related to homelessness, specifically on the east side of Santa Barbara. And so we're going to just start with some introductions. So I'm going to briefly ask you just to share your name and if you're affiliated with an organization or municipality, whatever. And we'll pass around this mic, which does not amplify you at all. It just makes it so that people on the Zoom can hear you a little more clearly if you're sitting way across the room. So start with Andrew. No, you can it's on, so just don't mess with it. Just pass it around, yeah.
My name is Andrew Crutch. I'm a code enforcement officer with the city of Santa Barbara.
Hello, I'm Liz Adams. I'm the regional director at PATH in Santa Barbara.
Happy Monday. My name is Oscar Soto, Associate Director of Housing Programs for PATH.
Good evening. I'm Herschel Mulford, the Director of Programs at PATH.
Hello, everyone. My name is JV, and I am the Associate Director of Philanthropy and Community Affairs at PATH.
Good evening. I'm Chris Barrows, a resident in the neighborhood.
Jess Espinoza, Eastside resident and part of SBES.
Good evening, Natalia Gavoni. I own a business here on the Milpas Corridor.
Betsy Kramer. I am a resident here and also a board member of Citizens Planning Association.
Hi, everyone. Jet Black Merritt. I am on the advisory board of PATH and also a neighborhood resident.
Commander Chris Payne, Santa Barbara Police Department, the Patrol Division Commander.
Sergeant Nate Beltran with Santa Barbara PD. I'm the sergeant in charge of our community action team.
Randy Rouse, Mayor, City of Santa Barbara.
Hi, I'm Eileen Reed. I'm a neighbor and here in my own capacity, but I should also point out that I sit on the board of Santa Barbara ACT with where Landon works, and also Hands Across Montecito, which is not a very well-known project that serves mostly the Santa Barbara part of Montecito. I'm also a Santa Barbara County Human Services. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
Tere Jurado, part of the Santa Barbara Eastside Society, part of the board of directors.
And Landon Rank, I'm the associate director with SB ACT, and we're partnering with the city for this collaboration, as well as with the cities of Goleta and Carpinteria for the South Countywide Homelessness Coalition. And then we'll pass it to everyone on the Zoom. We'll start with Councilmember Santa Maria.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. My name is Wendy Santamaria. I am your council member here on the East Side in District 1 for the city of Santa Barbara.
Thank you. And then Barbara.
Barbara Anderson, assistant to the city administrator, and I oversee all homelessness related strategies. Again, I apologize for not being there in person. I am under the weather, so battling sickness. And again, appreciate the turnout and all of you being there. Thank you so much.
Well, and then our other Zoom guest. Oh, you're muted. Here, let me see if I can help you out.
Hi, Teresa Pena. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Teresa Pena, a resident of the East Side.
Awesome. Thank you, Teresa. So welcome, everybody. We're really, really glad you're here for this in-person meeting. Thank you, Teddy. We typically are meeting on Zoom every other Friday at 10 a.m. But we want to try and offer some opportunities for us to be together. I think it helps us all if we actually get to see each other in person as people when we can. But we still want it to be accessible for those who are sick or maybe can't be here tonight. So as per usual, our general format is we'll have a couple of just general announcements related to homelessness in the city. And then we'll move to hearing from just community members and residents about questions or concerns or issues related to homelessness. And then once that's done, we'll go to our service providers to hear updates from them about the work they've been doing on the east side. So we're not going to be like cutting the meeting off like we typically do on the Zoom. We'll just have some time for conversation tonight. So, and we will try and be good. We may not always be able to. We're going to try and be good about getting the microphone to someone when they're speaking so that our Zoom participants can hear. So let's start with some announcements. There is a restroom available in the lobby too. I'll just mention that for the people in person here today. And let me just go into presentation mode. And all right, we're just going to leave it as it is for now. So a couple general announcements about schedule. Because we're meeting today, we're not going to have our typical Friday meeting this Friday. So our next meeting will be on the 21st of this month at 10 a.m. on Zoom, followed by, again, we'll just keep going with that every other week pattern. But we will be in touch. We've talked about maybe trying to do these in-person hybrids on a more regular basis. So we'll be in touch about something for the next quarter as well. And then I will draw your attention to the city is participating in this broader Act on Homelessness collaborative throughout the whole South County region. And so this is something that I mentioned with the cities of Goleta and Carpinteria participating as well. So we have some larger homelessness goals that we're all trying to achieve together. We know there's a lot of people working on homelessness in this region. And so we're trying to really align all of our efforts in addition to what the county already does to align efforts countywide. So this is just kind of a really, it's probably too small for many of you in person to see, but there's a small graphic of just who all is participating here in South County. You can see we have a lot of different kinds of agencies. We've got government agencies, lots of nonprofits. You see PATH up there. Members of our business community, philanthropic organizations, and we also have some people who've actually experienced homelessness that are a part of this effort. We are currently in the process of finalizing our 3-year strategic plan. I'm not going to go into these in too much depth right now, but we are setting some measurable goals around different aspects of addressing homelessness. So specifically around prevention and diversion, kind of trying to get people out of homelessness quickly as soon as they enter it. Addressing people who are currently experiencing homelessness, specifically those with significant behavioral health needs. So whether that's mental health or substance use. We have goals around helping people retain housing, because one of the big issues we see is people who get housing for a variety of reasons may lose it again. And we want to make sure that we're helping sustain that for people. Yes, I'm sure I can. I just don't know which button to push. Yes, you may. Oh, slideshow up there. That's the one. I just needed for Liz to walk closer to the computer in order to figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for asking. Then the fourth goal will be around trying to really bolster support in the community for these efforts, because if we don't have the support of our communities and our businesses and our neighbors, then we ultimately can't really achieve the things that we want to achieve related to homelessness. So I'd say don't get too attached to what's written here, because this is still, we're still in draft form with everything, but we'll have more on this in the coming months. I just want to let you know what's coming. And I will say too, this is in alignment with what the county has, a community action plan for our entire county related to homelessness. So we're trying to do everything in lockstep with their efforts to just strengthen everything. So let me see. Any questions about this kind of broader collaborative effort throughout the region? It's okay if not. I don't know if I can enlarge it further from here, but I can send this to you. I'm going to pass that to Jet.
It might help. Is that our school districts on there?
They're not.
They're not.
Mm-mm.
So my concern is dealing with the high acuity individual solves homelessness immediately, right? If we can
Mhm.
move a single person into housing, it solves homelessness for that person. But is there any, and you may be able to answer this as the mayor, or if Wendy's still there, what's being done to solve homelessness in a longitudinal sense? Is there any work being done at the school district level on homelessness prevention or targeting families that might be considered at risk before they're even entering the system? And I know that's kind of tangential to the actual work of SB Act, but I'm hoping that, like with everyone in this room, is there anything that's being done in a broader sense to prevent homelessness in 18 years for those kids that are at risk now?
I can speak to that just briefly and say there's a lot of talk right now. So there's a lot of different kind of, like, I know Chuck with the city of Goleta is pushing a couple different things. I know at the county level, they want to see more prevention efforts. I'm not sure which things are going to materialize yet. So stay tuned. I think this is the answer I have. But we know that's kind of what we have to head with all of this. If we want to really end homelessness, we have to be preventing it. So.
And Landon, I wanted to just share that there's a robust effort to have school resource officers on campus connected to family resource centers and navigating the pathways for families who are experiencing housing insecurity through the Department of Social Services at the county level. So I don't have a lot of detail there, but that is a well-resourced pathway, or has been in the past, that I think Jet brings up a great suggestion to at least bring them together as part of the collaborative so we can learn more and support where we can tie in on the homelessness prevention efforts.
Thank you.
If I can add, Landon, absolutely prevention is key in making sure that we get a hold of our crises. I think a big portion of that has to do with implementing more protections for existing residents to be able to stay in their homes, different measures to ensure that any evictions or any displacement of tenants is either prevented, or that we take a look at all other options before actual displacement of families. So um I I just like Landon said, it's I don't think any one of us can say exactly what is going to materialize. I can say definitely on my end, I am absolutely working on with our city staff and with our colleagues to make sure that we have some tenant protections, some more tenant protections, stronger ones, and other measures so that we can prevent displacement and homelessness from happening to begin with. So we'll absolutely need a collaboration from the community on that. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Councilmember Santa Maria. So I'm going to keep us moving here. I'm not going to dwell on this too long, but I did just want to mention the city has invested a significant amount of resources in Santa Barbara on having central one-stop shop locations for people to access a variety of homelessness related services. Most of you are already well familiar with this, but I did want to mention we have these little business card sized information cards that we have a lot of them over here, both in English and Spanish. So it's just an easy thing you can hand out to someone if you see them, to detailing one of the ways people can access services in the city. We do have a pop-up site on the east side on Wednesday mornings at the rescue mission. But then also the Faro Center is open 5 days a week from 9 to 3. So I encourage you to take as many cards as you want tonight. I don't need to take any of those home with me. It is going to be a wet week this week. Many of us know this. And so the county has activated the warming centers. And for the city of Santa Barbara, it'll be at First United Methodist Church, just a hop, skip, and a jump away. And this will be on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, starting at 6 p.m. And then let's pass the mic over to our PATH team to share about their inclement weather beds as well.
We will have 22 beds open to a max of 22 as from tomorrow night. So all set and ready to go. The sous chef already asked us, hey, does that mean more? Do we need to cook more meals? I said, yes. Yeah, so I like the fact that there's that alignment even with the kitchen.
And I'll just add if for our rain beds, when we open rain beds in a situation like this where there's going to be ongoing rain, we do allow people to remain on site. So if they're on a rain bed, they can stay throughout the day, have the meals throughout the day, stay inside and on site as well, so they don't have to leave and come back to get beds again. Correct.
And I had a question today about the how people can, is it a walk-in basis or actually I should have given this back to you. Is it a walk-in basis or how does somebody get one of those beds?
Yes, walk-in basis. And if like if outreach teams are out and they come across somebody, they can call us and let us know like somebody's on their way for a rain bed so we can make sure that that bed is available by the time they get there. Okay.
So yeah, so that'll be this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll stop with this for now. So that's it for general announcements for today. So I want to give us a few minutes just for community members.
Landon, we lost your sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Hopefully this stays on. That's all I wanted to say on that for today. So we'll go ahead and open it up for community members for any questions, concerns, or anything you want to share related to homelessness. That's on Zoom or in person. Yeah, will you pass that mic over?
Okay, I would like to get some clarification here. You said that
And you may need to bring it
oh,
close.
can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Let me hold it. The Faro Center is open up 5 days a week, 9 to 3. Okay, so my question is, why isn't it open 7 days a week? And how come it's only open from 9 to 3? How come not 9 to 6, right? Where do people go? If they go there and it's closed, what options are available to them?
No, great questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One is budgetary constrictions are part of it, to be totally frank. And so being able to staff it 7 days a week is a challenge. But we're also limited by our conditional use permit at the site in terms of what hours we're able to provide services. We're trying to be as good of neighbors as we can in the neighborhood, and that's, the part of that is having some restrictions on when people are coming in and out of the area. I think it's kind of
the city night and weekend team that works Thursday through Sunday. So there is, basic snacks, water, basic needs are being met. If there's a growing incident, they can help de-escalate before police can arrive, or they can often call police when they're seeing a crisis, before them on the streets. So they have now State Street Corridor, Waterfront, and the Lower East Side is the night and weekend team Thursday through Sunday. So there are at least eyes and outreach workers working through those days.
Thank you. Sebastian, I'm going to mute you.
I have 4. Okay, I didn't get all that, Barbara. I apologize. So you said there's a city night team.
Yeah, City Net has homeless services outreach 7 days a week. So they are the team that's working Thursday through Sunday when the Faro Center is not open. So the Faro Center is open through Friday, but Saturday and Sunday there's at least an outreach team that is working to engage people who are unhoused. to help address their basic needs, as well as to address any potential issues or crisis that might evolve.
And how many people are on this team, work on this team, and who
It's a
does that
team of
consist of?
two. It's a team of two that works Thursday through Sunday, and another team of two that works Monday through Thursday.
Okay, thank you for that. My next question is regarding the pop-up here on the east side, where that's only, what, once a week, and where is that?
It's once a week. It's on Wednesdays, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Rescue Mission. So over on Yananali, just west of, what is that, Calle Cesar Chavez?
And again, how come only 8 to 10 a.m.?
So that one actually that's how we've been running it for about, I want to say 4 years now. I'm not sure if that's right, but we have historically had these pop-up kind of one-stop shops around the city. And then just in 2024, the city invested in, let's have a physical building, the Faro Center. So the East Side one is just continuing on what we've been doing. We'd love to see these all over the city. We just need to raise all the money for it. So yeah.
And the rescue mission is now open, available during the day for people who are seeking refuge in their chapel. That's Monday through Friday, and that is recent as of a couple weeks ago. So we do have, a provider that's offering that daytime relief. We also have mental wellness center and other organizations that operate during the day to serve Eastside residents, including the Haley Youth Navigation Center. So we have quite a number of resource centers on the east side, really working to address anyone that's in need.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Will you pass it to Chris? Thanks, Natalia.
Does that mean the people at the rescue mission no longer have to leave during the day?
That is correct from what they've shared with us.
That's
yes.
my understanding.
Wonderful news.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Jesse. One question for your city staff. Is there now a time limit for all of the RVs that are parked from the post office all the way down to the bridge, like Quarantina? And because I notice we're getting another big influctuation of RVs down there. So I was just curious.
Are you talking about on Cacique or which street?
Well, was that it's that Nopalitos that goes around
yeah.
to you're getting more influctuation of RVs down there now and under the bridges.
Okay.
So I didn't know if there was a time limit for them or so I was just curious.
Jesse, I can give you the quick answer and then I'll turn it over to PD. It is unlawful to be in an oversized recreational vehicle and live in that recreational vehicle anywhere in the city of Santa Barbara. So our ordinance is pretty clear about that. But we had changes to our ordinance as of a year ago that allows folks to be warned prior to being issued a citation. And in that warning, if they move 1,000 linear feet, then the warning starts again. They do not receive a citation. They receive a second warning. So you're seeing constant movement of people living in oversized recreational vehicles because of that process. So parking enforcement and patrol are regularly engaged with these individuals. We also have all of these individuals receiving outreach from New Beginnings Safe Parking Program as a result of the California Encampment Resolution Fund grant program. So there are more resources than ever to help these folks be housed. Some continue to be resistant and some, want to continue to live in their recreational vehicle, and they will continue to receive warnings and or citations if, again, they do not move 1,000 linear feet in between that warning period. So you're just going to see constant movement pretty regularly until we get these folks on a pathway to housing. But Commander Payne, is there anything you wanted to add or Sergeant Beltran to that?
Thank you.
Yes, the only thing that I'd like to add is the first initial warning is actually gives them 72 hours. So when we provide those warnings, the first warning actually provides information about New Beginnings and how to get into safe parking. So the very first warning they get is 72 hours. After that 72 hours, then it turns into a 2-hour warning cycle. So the first time they have 72 hours before they have to move, which is state law for any vehicle parked on a public roadway.
Oh, so that explains all the tire jump lumps.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, can we pass the mic over here to Eileen?
So my question would be for Mayor Rouse, Councilmember Santa Maria, and Ms. Anderson. Do we need to, as a city, tighten the law so that this almost kind of whack-a-mole situation is no longer available to people living in their vehicles? I'm involved at New Beginnings, and I know that what they're trying to do with that $8 million grant is to establish certain areas that are safe for people who live in their vehicles, but to get them off areas, for example, De La Guerra Street north of the high school is not a good place for lots of homeless, lots of people living in their vehicles for various reasons, obvious reasons, I should say, related to student safety. So going back to my first question, should we tighten the laws, and if so, how?
I can answer that. And again, happy to turn it over to PD to add to it. We are looking at mitigation measures that we can incorporate in part of our municipal code to address, the issues we're seeing around school zones, as well as employee parking in some regions in the city of Santa Barbara. But in general, the changes to our oversized vehicle ordinance were actually the result of a settlement due to litigation. So our warning process, as well as the expansion of the size of a recreational vehicle, were all part of that settlement. So to change that would take a data-driven process, which we are collecting very detailed data in terms of the number of vehicles that are engaged, the number of outreach workers that have worked with them, as well as the housing opportunities available to them, the number of people who've been housed, and then the folks who have been not accepting those services and outreach, as well as the number of citations received. So we are trying to really understand the capacity that's needed on the city side to be able to address this, as well as looking at other parts of our municipal code and trying to mitigate these issues. So that's in process. The police department, the city attorney's office, the city administrator's offices are all working together to try to mitigate these issues.
Yeah, and I was around when we did the oversized vehicle code in the first place, and I guess, as Barbara said, it got altered by the settlement, and the warning times and whatnot. It was the warning time itself, Barbara. Was that part of the settlement as well?
Yeah,
The 72 hours.
the warning time, as Commander Payne references, is aligning with state law. The
Right.
warning period, the information related to the safe parking program, the movement of the vehicle within that warning period, all were changes adopted as of, I think it was about a year, 18 months ago.
It's just a personnel thing as well. It's a heavy lift labor wise to have enough of these people going out there and trying to enforce. We just now finally filled in a lot of our parking enforcement staff as well, so that should help somewhat. And there are some other activities. There was like a bicycle theft ring that was hanging on. It was at Hope or Hitchcock, one of those places, where they poke a lot of RVs. So we've got a lot of plates in the air right now. So we're getting out there, and it is going to start getting better because you do see more and more of a presence. But that's been really it's just been a labor thing more than anything else. You guys want
Well,
to add?
I don't think we have New Beginnings in the room, but as of their last quarterly report, they've enrolled 80 individuals in the city of Santa Barbara in that California Encampment Resolution Fund grant program. So they're enrolled in receiving services. Of those 80 people, 23 people have already been housed. So they are working very diligently to make a lot of success happen in a very short period of time. So yes, enforcement is a huge part of this, but we are, in some circumstances, are trying to use enforcement to incentivize people to say yes to these services as well.
Some resist as well. Some of them don't want to go into New Beginnings, don't want to follow the rules because New Beginnings is successful because they do have rules and they do monitor it. So that part, that's the good news. The bad news is there are people that just don't want to have to dance the toe the line. So that's an issue.
Were you going to add? It's already not.
No, I think if I added anything, I'd just be repeating.
I think one of the challenges too that we've been working on addressing is that there are safe parking lots throughout the region, but many of them can't accommodate oversized vehicles. So we're trying to find those large parking lots, and that's a whole other thing. If you're interested in talking about finding parking lots, come to a different meeting. But yeah, that's an ongoing search as well. We had questions from Natalia, and then Chris, and then we'll go to Jet.
My question here, the next question is to you, Commander Payne. Okay, so you said the first initial warning is 72 hours, correct? And then the second one is 2 hours, correct? Okay, is there a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or is you there? Each, so it could be like 50 warnings, right? 100 warnings, it could, right? So how often are the police over there monitoring this? Right?
Can you pass let's
Oh,
pass the mic
sorry.
over to Commander Payne.
Mainly it's parking enforcement and code enforcement has been helping us with those warnings right now. And so, I mean, it's again, all of those entities work normal business hours. You know, most of them are done by 6 p.m. in the evening. So it's from the morning time to 6 p.m. But again, just like anything else, we, as a police department, we respond to all calls for service based upon priority. So there's certain things that we contractually have to fulfill first in parking enforcement. So once I have the necessities filled, then we're able to redirect more additional resources to other areas. But again, like Mayor Rao said, we're actually at 12 parking enforcement officers right now, which is higher than we've probably been in the last 5 years. So we actually have good staffing. I think we only have 2 left in training right now. So we have 10 fully trained parking enforcement officers and 2 that are completing their training. So we have more resources, so we're doing more with it, but I can't give you an exact number of how many hours, how many officers a day that we're specifically addressing that because other issues would come up.
Getting violations, people speed tickets. Yes, it's getting better.
Good, good. And then my next question, I guess, would be to the
Hold
city.
it up. To
Oh,
Tim.
sorry.
No, you're
Thank
good.
you. Thank you, Landon. Has the city, Barbara, ever reached out to the county regarding regarding this issue, right? I mean, there's more land out there. How about like by the jail up there to have these oversized vehicles there instead of having it within not only the east side, just within a business community? I don't think it's really fair, naturally, that if you have a business and you have customers that are coming there, they're struggling to find a space to park.
So I can speak to this a little bit.
Was I?
No. I mean, hopefully they could hear you all right. Okay, good. So I've been a part of this kind of parking lot search process, and they're spread out throughout the whole region. So we've got lots, Carpinteria, Goleta, unincorporated land. One of the challenges is that sometimes the lots that are further outside of city limits are less motivating for people. So that's one of the issues, but it doesn't stop us from utilizing lots outside of city limits. So the problem is there's just so many of these vehicles right now that we're having to keep constantly finding new lots.
And we have 6 regions throughout the city that are highly impacted by people residing in their vehicles, not just the Lower East Side. So we are providing and facilitating outreach to all of those regions, along with utilizing enforcement when it's necessary. And I will say, Natalia, that county and the city have never worked more closely than we are now. So we meet regularly to discuss both the issues that we're dealing with in terms of vehicles and vehicular homelessness, but as well as homelessness in general. So we have the Act on Homelessness Collaborative that the county is actively engaged with. We have the countywide continuum of care that meets regularly about issues countywide. But then we also have, our city focused work that we're doing just specifically on vehicular homelessness with the county and this grant program, which is bringing in the $8 million in resources.
Okay, thank you. And how often does the city and the county, excuse me, meet to discuss these issues? Did you hear me?
Sorry, I had a barking dog behind me.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
question.
Not a problem, not a problem. How often does the city of Santa Barbara meet with the county of Santa Barbara to discuss these issues? Is it
So
weekly?
we have weekly South County coordinated outreach team meetings. So that is county and cities working together with outreach providers to discuss individuals of concern and individuals that we want to refer into interim and permanent housing opportunities. So that's weekly. Our encampment resolution steering committee meets monthly. Our encampment resolution committee that's dealing specifically with vehicular homelessness meets monthly. And then our county continuum of care meets every other month. So I will say I have at least one meeting with the county a week, if not more.
And then can we,
Okay, thank you.
would it be all right if we share the wealth, go to Chris next?
sure.
Thank you. Then we'll go to Jet. And then I think after that, I want to make sure we hear from all the different service providers, and then we'll likely have time at the end for other questions as well.
It's probably a never mind for me, but did we not years ago allow people in vehicles to park extended periods at the beach? Like a parking lot down by between the harbor and
And then as regards the safe parking lots too, they are confidential locations too. So there will be some lots that you might ask, is that a safe parking lot? And we're not allowed to say whether it is or isn't. Yeah, it's a confidential lot. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So sure. Yeah, yeah.
So as we saw last week, the federal government isn't really like on board with taking care of people anymore. What conversations are happening at the city level to help prevent homelessness for people who are, relying on, Medicare or Medicaid for their bills or Social Security to pay their rent? If something that we thought would never happen, but if that tap got turned off, is the city preparing to react to that in a way that would help people have either a brief or no episode of homelessness?
You passed the mic.
I think Barbara would agree. I mean, right now we're in a wait and see mode like everybody else is. And Health and Human Services is generally a county function. But with the city, I don't know what, other than going into some reserve fund, I don't know what funds we would identify to do so or what kind of services we would provide. We're certainly conscious of it. And we're in touch with Salud's office right across the street. So we're pinging him all the time. And he's pulling his hair out trying to figure this out as well. So it's a shaky time. I can't imagine the payment structure is going to be set off, any more than it is right now. I think it's going to snap back and hit those guys pretty hard. So there's a lot of congressmen that have a lot of funding issues within their districts and are not they're not going to buy this for very long. I hope. So my answer is I don't know. And we're still on that kind of wait and see mode. Barbara, do you have any other information on that?
Well, and I'll turn it over to Councilmember Santa Maria. I mean, you know firsthand, the only way we were able to provide emergency rental assistance is because we had federal funding to do so. I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars were spent to facilitate that. The city does not have the resources to step in if there was that significant of a gaping hole because of the decisions that they're making. But Councilmember Santa Maria, I know you know firsthand.
Yeah, if I can add to that, I think anyone here who knows how our government systems work, we will simply not be able to fill that void of missing federal funding. That being said, there are, I think, other non-monetary measures that we can take as a community, as service providers, as electeds, as neighbors to help protect folks. If folks here haven't been up to date, I would highly encourage you all to get in touch with La Casa de la Raza. They are doing a lot of work out in the community to really help our immigrant community, especially who's being most affected by this. there's a lot of folks, especially on our east side, who are either afraid to go to work. There are businesses who are just simply shutting down because, people just aren't coming out because of the fear of these raids. And I think it's going to be crucial now more than ever. And it's what I'm hearing from community members, that this is the time for us to act to help prevent homelessness before it happens and to help preserve our existing families that are here, right? And so we are in conversations with the city, and I think or with it within the city are having conversations, about what measures can we take here. Our power is of course limited, and the federal government usually has much larger jurisdiction than us. That being said, I think there are some things that we can do here locally. And so we don't have anything definitive quite yet, but I do think that it's going to be imperative for us as neighbors and service providers. We really need to get together because, for instance, Path is a wonderful resource. And I know for a fact Path has programs. For instance, if somebody loses their job, they need a little bit of cash assistance to make sure that they don't end up falling into homelessness, as a homelessness prevention. That's just one example. But there's going to be a lot of, I think, mutual aid is going to start to get even bigger than ever. So I think it's not going to be one solution fits all. Fortunately, we do have a lot of we'd have some, not a lot, but some judges that are pushing back on the executive orders that Trump is issuing. So, it's all up in the air, unfortunately. So yeah, we're working on it.
I know this is a very different time, but I will say I was very impressed how quickly our community was able to mobilize around homelessness during the pandemic in like the early days, and how quickly everybody started kind of working together to figure that out. So I do think we have the partnerships here, even in this room, that I think will be ready to mobilize if things do change rapidly. And I think through the South County Collaborative and through these other coalitions we're a part of, we have the ability to sort of pivot all of our goals if needed. But I think we're all playing wait and see.
And over and above a lot of the government functions as well, we have an amazing philanthropic community. There are a lot of nonprofits that do build up a lot of funds and reserves and would probably help just step into the void. I mean, for us, we're just looking to be able to get our block grant funding, let alone, other things like that. So the kind of funding we would need to actually put a stopgap there, I'm not sure where we get it from. So but we'd be reaching out to our partners in all these different various and sundry nonprofits and philanthropic organizations to help. And it's been a pretty good community when it comes right down to doing that kind of thing. So hopefully it won't come down to us having to make that ask.
I do actually, before we go to the in-person, I did want to make sure, were there any questions on the Zoom? I realize I've been mostly looking in the room here. Okay, not seeing any. Eileen, you can do maybe one more question and then we'll hear some updates.
I actually have a suggestion, not a question, and the mayor was reading my mind. Just that in your collaborative meetings, in your meetings with the county, Ms. Anderson, that you invite someone from the Santa Barbara Foundation to come and sit in. Like I said, I'm a donor, longtime donor at New Beginnings, and when we have these quarterly check-ins, there's always somebody from the Santa Barbara Community Foundation. And I would just suggest that so that they are clued in early to perhaps what we might have a need. I mean, who knows if they zero out those block grants. So I think it's very good to bring in the philanthropic sector early.
And we're way ahead of you on that. That we completely agree. And they sit on the steering committee with the South County Collaborative as well as they're in the continuum of care for the county.
Yeah, they've been there for a number of years. So we have a great partnership and collaborative relationship with them. Eileen, thank you so much for bringing them up.
Yeah, good. All right, let's do just a round of check-ins from those who are doing some work with our people experiencing homelessness in our neighborhood. I'm just going to go around the circle. Actually, we can just start this way. We'll start with our PD team.
Sure, Sergeant Beltran again. Really not a whole lot to update you on from like any of the last meetings we've had. We're just out there doing our same thing, the cat team, making our rounds. We're dealing with a lot of the RVs and everything else. I know it gets frustrating and it's a challenge for us too, but we're out there, we're trying to enforce and we're trying to do what we can. Anything that we see that's on view that we can deal with, to kind of enforce that part of it and then let the other side come in to try to help get these people connected to resources, because some of them are just struggling and other people are not necessarily struggling, they're just doing things they shouldn't be doing. But otherwise, I think the Cacique area, I mean, compared to months ago, it's been looking pretty good. We haven't had very many issues. Same thing with the waterfront, just the same little areas that we deal with, but nothing out of the norm or unusual.
Since
Sure. Sure. So, like I said before, I supervise the community action team, and we go by the acronym CAT for the initials, obviously. And we're the team that you'll see around. We're usually in either the pickup truck or bikes. And our we go all over the city, but our primary focuses are downtown and then the Lower East Side, waterfront areas. And by the nature of where we are, we kind of deal with a lot of homelessness. But we deal with other things, but that is one of our primary roles. So that's kind of what we do. And we also work hand in hand with our co-response team, who is a team of officers that ride around with mental health clinicians.
Thank you. So the CAT team is very familiar with probably many of the individuals that you all see on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah, a lot of the guys on our team, guys and gals on our team, if you see someone that's kind of an ongoing problem or someone that just needs services, a lot of times we're able to pick them out just by the description because the people on our team deal with them daily, sometimes multiple times a day. So,
Thank you. Let's pass it over to the PATH team.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. So, part of in community affairs, and I manage our volunteer program. So we have more than 100 volunteers throughout the week, and one of our main or popular volunteer opportunities is working in the kitchen. So we have 3 shifts. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's open to anyone who would love to come in and serve our guests, and as well as do light work with our kitchen staff. We also will be having our community cleanup. We're partnering with MedLife from UCSB, and that's going to be on Friday, February 21st, from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. I created a flyer, and on that flyer, it does have a QR code, and you'll be able to just sign up there. And then it also has our liability forms. Volunteers could be 14 years and up. If they are a minor, they just have to have a parent or guardian signature to complete the form, as well as I work with many of the UCSB fraternities and sororities, many of the chapters and clubs on campus. I work with Westmont College students, as well as SBCC. We have the Kate School, who comes regularly every Wednesday night to serve dinner to our guests. And then I work with also all the Santa Barbara High School students as well, and some of the middle school students. So, yeah.
Regarding street outreach, we are almost there Monday through Friday doing outreach, getting the unhoused individuals connected with services. We're also at the Rescue Mission on Wednesday mornings from 8 to 10, as well as doing access point at Path. Last week, the leadership team plus a few other staff members went out to the east side, our area, and we met with businesses, checked in with them, gathered information, asked them how they asked them about challenges, what they've seen, Most of them saw big improvements on Casica and our surrounding areas. One of the challenges that they brought was the RVs. And we did say that we are collaborating with New Beginnings to get them connected. The other thing that some of the businesses around the post office, and that, what's that? But they did inquire about possibly having more public trash cans on there, because they did see a lot of trash and litter on the bushes and stuff. So they did inquire about what it would take for the city to put public trash cans on there as well.
Yeah, that was kind of the one issue. We're used to going around and hearing so many issues. So it was a refreshing neighborhood walk this time to hear a lot of positive input from folks about the improvement that they have seen. But this was the one thing that they brought besides the RVs was that sometimes they'll come in and find trash like in the parking lot of that business complex, and so that's why they had asked about possibility of public trash can right across from the post office. There's that complex of like, I don't, so many businesses in there, and they're like that whole area, there's no public trash cans over there.
Responsibility project it would be if those businesses would get together, make a donation to facilitate the additional garbage cans and other things that might make it possible. I'm sure in your newsletter you could give them a plug, et cetera, in exchange for that. Just an idea.
And again, I'm Liz. I'm the regional director over at PATH. For those of you who are here and don't know what PATH is, we are a homeless service provider. We're one of the largest and most impactful homeless service providers in the state of California. Here locally, we have a interim housing site, what most people refer to as a shelter, over on Cacique and Milpas on the corner over there, right on the other side of the gas station. We can have up to 100 people who stay in that shelter. We're open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, always staffed there. We also have a street outreach program. We operate what Oscar referred to as an access point. So for anybody who's experiencing homelessness, that's the first step essentially for somebody to ever get connected to services is to go through this access point and get into the system. So we operate an access point so anybody can walk in off the street and connect with us and get entered into that system to connect with service providers throughout the county. We also have public health on site there. So anybody can come in off the street and access public health services on site there as well. And we have a 24-hour bathroom that's available for folks on the east side as well. 24 hours a day, they can come in and use that bathroom. So our interim housing site is our biggest program. This year, we've served already just under 200 people at our interim housing site. So that's almost 200 people who would otherwise have been on the streets who are inside under a roof instead. And we have had almost 20 people, just under 20 people who have exited into permanent positive housing placements through that, which is awesome. Interim housing shelters typically have the lowest outcomes, most challenging, high needs individuals who stay with us. So awesome outcome there. Our street outreach program, also doing amazing work all the time. We have a rapid rehousing program that we do in partnership with Santa Barbara City College. We're really excited about that because part of that program is also diversion and prevention. So talking about that prevention piece, we're really excited to be able to help people before they officially become homeless. We have a couple single mothers actually right now who we are keeping housed with them being able to keep their children so that they don't end up becoming homeless. So super excited about that newly launched program. And then we also have a permanent supportive housing program, which is for kind of highest needs individuals who have been homeless for long periods of time, multiple disabilities, won't be able to really ever kind of be on their own, as who enrolls in a permanent supportive housing program. So we also have that program as well, and we currently have 44 people housed through that program with a 98% retention rate of people remaining housed. So really excited about all of that. And then we also have a new Cal AIM program that we just launched. And what Cal AIM is it's essentially a way to fund services that the state essentially has identified are really important services. So healthcare can pay for services for somebody experiencing homelessness. So for helping people navigate into housing, for example, at our interim housing site, we can bill their insurance for this service, and their insurance covers the cost of it. So we just recently launched this. The goal of it is to help people get housed a little more quickly. It can help pay housing deposits, and then it can also assist with covering the cost of case managers staying with people as they move into housing, which is not something that was really done before, except if they're in a permanent supportive housing program. So we just recently launched this as well, have seen some really good success with it. We have one person who was just recently housed and just is still receiving all of his furniture and move-in things for his apartment. But this is somebody who multiple, I think maybe every homeless service provider has worked with, has been challenged to get housed, and I think some people had kind of given up. And so through this program, we were able to recently get him into his own apartment in Santa Barbara and self-sufficient. So very very excited about all the things that are going on. And I'll just point out too, we have some flyers over here. There's a neighborhood resource guide. So it kind of has phone numbers and information about if you see somebody who you think is experiencing homelessness and you want to help them connect to services, there's who are the different people to call for different types of situations. Our information is on there as well. So you can reach out to us anytime. And if we're not the right person, we will figure out who it is and help get people connected. So there's lots of flyers back there for everyone to check out.
Thank you. We'll go to code enforcement. We are over time, so if anyone needs to slip out, feel free. We'll just stay an extra couple of minutes and then we'll wrap up.
Again, my name is Andrew Crutch. I'm a code enforcement officer with the City of Santa Barbara Sustainability and Resilience Department. We generally continue to deal with issues on the east side on a very much a case-by-case basis. Overflowing trash cans, encampments, personal belongings being stored in the public right of way. Again, SB Connect is really a great tool for that we've received a lot of great reporting on, and it helps us to address those concerns as quickly as possible. But all in all, for the area kind of as a whole, we've seen things, in a pretty positive light lately. A lot of the encampments that we are dealing with, it's mostly being found down along the train tracks, the waterways. It is, I'd say, a little bit more out of sight for most people sort of going about their day. Not to say that people don't move up and down Milpas, and we do deal with, different messes and things like that that can be around the high school, for instance, De La Guerra and Quarantine area. We're, always dealing with some challenges around there. But otherwise, we continue to deal with the illegal dumping, the abandoned shopping carts. Again, those reports are great when they come through SB Connect. We're generally able to hop on those things on the same day. Then we can quickly coordinate with Marburg, or we can work with the store or handle the shopping carts ourselves if needed. So all in all, it's a pretty positive report for the area, and we just, we really appreciate everyone's participation. And, there's 3 of us in our department, and we do our best to cover citywide. So we appreciate everyone's, extra set of eyes out there. That's really kind of the best thing we have is the community to help us identify things. So.
And if you have not downloaded the SB Connect app yet, just making a plug to please go download SB Connect, because that's where you can report all kinds of things, whether it's illegal dumping, if you see somebody who you think might be in need of services, It all gets filtered through the city and to Andrew's team and to
Yeah.
Barbara, and so it's a really
And
great way.
I will say it's very easy. You can submit anonymous reports, so you don't always have to identify yourself. There's just a whole variety of issues that you can bring, to the city's attention, and then we can route it around to the correct team if it's not specific to us or something like that. There's a lot of different teams that are utilizing the service. So.
Quick question, and then we're gonna wrap it up, but we'll see. Yep.
So when I see someone experiencing homelessness, for some reason where I live, it's kind of a hotbed for people like stopping to have a pee on my neighbor's fence or something like that. Or there was people camping in Sunflower Park. I typically call the non-emergency. And the response is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it happens very quickly. Should I be doing that through SB Connect, or for those really like time sensitive things, is it best to call the non-emergency line? And then this is more for like graffiti or things like things where it's okay for it to sit for like 6 hours and then be handled when someone's available.
I know Barbara receives a lot of the requests that are, oh, sorry. Barbara does receive a lot of the requests about like a homeless individual in need through SB Connect. I would think maybe on the weekends, if it's not like a regular business hour thing, the best resource might be, going through dispatch to see if you can get a more immediate response if there is something really problematic. But as far as like something you might see like a graffiti or an issue like that can maybe have just a little bit more of a time to be dealt with, SB Connect is a great resource.
Okay. So for immediate response, it would be like the non-emergency number and then SB Connect for the, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a little bit of a gray area of what kind of escalates it, but
absolutely.
yeah.
Okay.
In a situation, you can also reach out directly to the outreach team. So you could reach out directly to CityNet and they can like send an outreach worker over there pretty quickly because they're, as Barbara said, 7 days a week.
We do have those little info cards over there that have all the phone numbers and a link to SB Connect and all of that as well. So, did you have a quick question, Jesse?
I'm sure that you can answer this. I noticed that the fire has been responding to random warming fires. Do you guys plan on changing the temperature? Because I know it has to be pretty cold in order to open up. Is there any change to change that temperature rate?
Are you talking about for the warming centers to be open?
For the warming centers, yeah.
So it's a county decision, and I haven't heard any discussion currently about changing the temperature. Right now, it has to be a minimum of 35 degrees, or I don't know if that's the right word, minimum, but it has to be that low in order for the warming centers to be activated. But it is an ongoing. We've heard that from a variety of community members. It's hard getting the faith communities to be willing to open up, and so it's a challenge year over year. I will close out unless did you have one other thing you were going to say? Sorry.
No, good.
Thank you. So obviously, I think there are more questions and conversation we could have. So feel free, as we're closing up tonight, to stick around and talk to each other. The benefit of us that are able to be here in person is that we can actually like meet each other. So feel free to come around and ask your questions. But I do just want to say thank you all again for taking time to be here on a weekday night. Obviously, some of our service providers couldn't be here because of the timing, but we're hoping to be able to keep doing these and get as many people as possible. So just want to appreciate you all. Thank you for the engagement and all the good questions and the conversation today. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, staff.
And if you would help me here in person, stack these chairs, they can go 15 high over there. Thank you.